Television adaptations of famous books have always deviated from their source material. It used to be that these changes had valid reasons. It would have been impossible to fit all 3 Lord of the Rings books in 3 movies, for example. For that reason, the movies did not contain the part of the story where Frodo meets Tom Bombadil. Another example is the sheer amount of characters introduced to us in the A Song of Ice and Fire books. It would be impossible to portray them all in a way that would make sense to the audience. Modern television adaptations don't just make changes out of necessity, however. More often than not, shows deviate from their source material because of artistic reasons, political reasons, or seemingly no reason at all. House of the Dragon is no stranger to this phenomenon. Such changes, however, can have unintended consequences. Consequences that disrespect the world building of the source material. Today we take a closer look at one of those examples, with Laenor Velaryon not dying in the first season. Welcome to The Boar and the Lion. If you like these kinds of videos, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a lot with creating future videos. And to everyone who is already subscribed, thank you very much for your support. Laenor Velaryon is the oldest son of Lord Corlys Velaryon, the Sea Snake, and Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the queen who never was. King Viserys eventually convinces his daughter Rhaenyra to marry Laenor, although he needs the threat to strip her title as heir away from her to do this. Rhaenyra and Laenor are cousins and do not dislike each other. Their marriage is a special affair, however. Laenor is attracted to men and often surrounds himself with pretty squires and young knights. Rhaenyra is well aware of Laenor's preferences, and because of this they make a deal. They will marry each other and play the part of husband and wife. In addition, they are free to seek the comfort and love of the people they so desire. For Rhaenyra, this means Sir Criston Cole and Sir Harwin Strong. For Sir Laenor, this means Sir Joffrey Lonmouth and Sir Carl Corey. For over 10 years, Laenor and Rhaenyra successfully played the part. 3 sons are even born to them: Jacaerys, Lucerys, and Joffrey Velaryon. Although rumors that the boy's real father is Sir Harwin Strong always persist. In the book, that is. The show leaves little to the imagination regarding the boy's parentage. As the story progresses, House of the Dragon shows us that Laenor's willingness to partake in the charade that is their marriage starts to falter. He expresses a desire to fight in the Stepstones again, a desire for a new adventure. Rhaenyra forbids him to leave her side, however. After the death of Daemon Targaryen's second wife, Laena Velaryon, Laenor seemingly breaks. The death of his sister, with which he had a very close bond, pains him deeply. Rhaenyra concludes that Laenor is no longer fit to play the role of her husband in his current state. With the ever-growing threat of the Greens hanging over her, and her uncle and former lover Daemon back on the market, she decides that she wants to marry Daemon. There's just one thing standing in the way: her husband Laenor. And this is where the book and the show have a different outcome. The way it happens is quite similar. In the book, Laenor is killed by Sir Carl Corey at a fair in Spicetown. There are rumors that Daemon paid Carl to kill Laenor and promised him passage on a ship to the Free Cities. Not sticking with his promise, Daemon has Carl killed after Laenor's death and his body thrown into the sea. In House of the Dragon, Carl and Laenor are seen fighting as well, but in the show, somebody else's body is burned and presented as Laenor's dead body, while Carl and Laenor get away secretly on a ship that supposedly is going toward the Free Cities. So why this change? I mentioned before that the showrunners want to show us Rhaenyra's side as favorably as they can in Season 1. Either because they want to copy the setup that Game of Thrones used, or because of other reasons. Having Rhaenyra decide to spare Laenor's life, to set him free even, from the captivity of their pretend marriage, can be seen as another kind act by this beloved princess. And in itself, the change is not that bad, assuming that neither Carl nor Laenor will have any role to play in House of the Dragon. One thing about Laenor complicates his being alive, however, and that is the fact that he is a dragon rider. We know a couple of things about dragons, but there is far more that we do not know about them at this point. One of the things we can be sure about, however, is that a dragon can only bond with one rider. As long as his or her rider is alive, a dragon will not accept orders or be able to be ridden by any other person. House the Dragon tells us as much in episode 6, when Jacaerys is taught how to control Vermax in the dragon pit. Laenor is bound to the dragon Seasmoke. At the beginning of season 2, Seasmoke will be one of 6 dragons that are without a rider living on Dragonstone. And a dragon without a rider cannot be used efficiently in battle. We need only to look at the deaths of Viserion and Rhaegal to see the proof of that. Because there are not enough Targaryens or Velaryons to bind themselves to these beasts, the Blacks organize an event called the Sowing of the Seeds. The Targaryens have always been quite promiscuous, and many low-born citizens of Dragonstone have a drop of Valyrian blood running through their veins. Any dragon seed, as these bastards are called, who is able to tame one of the dragons will be offered lordships and titles. And because of this, many will try. One of the dragon seeds that is successful in this is Adam of Hull. As you might expect, he successfully tames Seasmoke and rides him on the side of the Blacks in the battles to come. And here the problem becomes obvious. As long as Laenor Velaryon is alive, it should not be possible for Adam to bond with Seasmoke, or to ride him. I won't tell you any names, but if House the Dragon follow its source material, one of the royal children actually dies by trying to ride a dragon that is not bound to him. The dragon simply throws him off, mid-flight. So, how to solve this problem? In my eyes, they have 3 options. Option 1 is to break the lore and never speak about this situation. Which wouldn't surprise me, but obviously is not my preferred way of handling this problem. Option 2 is the combining of characters. We've seen it happen before in Game of Thrones, mainly to avoid the cast becoming too big to handle. Some examples are Loras Tyrell, who was merged with his older brother Garland, Ser Jorah Mormont, who was merged with Jon Connington, and it could be said that some aspects of Aegon Targaryen, also known as Young Griff, were merged with Jon Snow. This could be an option, but Adam of Hull plays a heroic role in the story that cannot simply be replaced by Laenor, mainly because Laenor is not a dragon seed. So on to option 3, the best option in my opinion. They let Laenor die off-screen before the sowing of the seeds ever happens. This will definitely confirm that the writers only made him live to put Rhaenyra in a favorable light, but at least the lore regarding dragons will stay intact. We'll have to wait to see what they come up with. Adam's brother Alan of Hull is sure to appear in the upcoming season. He was one of the 4 castings announced last April for season 2, and he will be played by Abu Bakr Salim. I do hope we will get to see Adam as well, as Laenor's part in House the Dragon is finished, in my eyes at least. Why do you think the showrunners decided to let Laenor live? And would you have chosen differently? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time as well.